Your clients will Google your local business. They're looking to find whether you're open and whether your services still exist just coming out of this pandemic. So this is a really important video because it's been proven from CallRail's report recently that since the pandemic, there's been a massive increase in people picking up the phone. 61% increase, in fact, since the pandemic started at the beginning of this spring. The pandemic has changed consumers' behaviour, but have you changed your approach? Well, today's video is going to see what you can do to change your approach in your Google Maps, your Google My Business, so that you can be found locally and that more people will pick up the phone and give you a call. So welcome to my video. So I'm Zane from Zanet Design and I help businesses grow like yours on Google. So if you've got a local small business or a medium-sized business and you want to see it increase with inquiries to get more calls, get more even local business, then these types of videos are going to be useful for you. Now, if you haven't subscribed already, you need to do so. There's over 100 videos now in this series about Google My Business, and we tackle every single issue, every question you have on Google My Business. So make sure you subscribe, give it a thumbs up, and if you've got a question, put it down below. So let's jump straight in to see how we can improve your business through Google on a local basis, and inquiries come flooding in if you do this particular trick on posts that we're going to look at later in the video. So let's jump straight in. Google Local Business is so important because you can get calls immediately if you just follow these few steps we're going to look at. And you may wonder, why are getting phone calls now so important? And this study really shows you why it's so important. This was CallRail's recent report, and they were looking back over how things have changed since the COVID lockdown. So if you go back to January 20, so the beginning of the year, you notice that this is the amount of calls and the increase. So it's constantly increasing, but it's just a very small level. And that's the increase of people using Google My Business to basically pick up the phone. So it was even dropping down slightly as it got to around winter time in January. But you notice as we then hit the spring, it's still again going up more gradually than normal. And then suddenly around COVID time, when there was a breakout, obviously businesses closed, many businesses were restricted or under lockdown. But what do you notice? Since the lockdown started to ease off and businesses opened up, and this is generally the way for most countries, you notice a rapid increase. So 100% increase at this point on month, and then even more so. And overall, what you've got here is a rapid development of people picking up the phone. Why does it work this way? Well, because they're searching for a business to see whether they're online, to see whether they're still going. They want to know their business times. They may want to know a bit more about whether the pandemic has affected them. So people can't go out, but they can call. And so at the moment, we're hitting around about a 200% growth rate month on month, just under. And that is a rapid growth. So if you're not using phone calls, if you're not getting people to call you immediately through this process I'm going to show you now, then you're missing out on a lot of customers each day. So let me show you how it works, and let me just explain a bit more about the background to why this is so important for your local business. So here's an example of businesses that aren't using the phone number, first of all. So I've just done a search here for artists in Eastbourne, and the majority of these don't have any phone numbers at all. But you notice here, it comes up, and this will be on any business. If it's not been entered, add phone number. And if you click on that, if that's your business, you click on that, you can enter your phone number. But let me show you how you can enter it a different way. If you log into your Google My Business, if you click on info, and then if you go down the page, you'll find that there's a section that has various things you can fill in. And here again, you can enter your phone number. And you may have a question, well, is having a plus 44 if you're in England, or is that the right way to go, or is it okay to put 0 in front of it? Well, I'd always say that consistency is important, and consistency makes a massive difference. So for example, if you had 2 different mobile numbers, or if you had, say, a landline and a mobile number, you need to consistently have one number that everyone in the business, so every client that's interested, every Google My Business listing, every citation you use, every business index you use, one number consistently. And that's really important, because if you don't do that, then it starts to weaken the strength of your branding and the authority that Google gives you. So remember, we're looking for ways in which we can increase your authority in Google and Google Local Business. We've realised that this needs to be established. So that's, first of all, if you don't have your number, then you click on that, or you go into your Google My Business and you enter your number. If you now look for your business, so if I search for Zanet Design, and this is called the knowledge panel, and then on the right hand side I'm checking to make sure my phone number comes up. And you need to make sure, first of all, you've got your phone number and that it's coming up in Google before you do the next stage to increasing your calls and getting more customers phoning. So I've confirmed that. You can do a search to see whether you've got a consistent phone number in a brilliant little tool called Bright Local, and I'll put the link down below, so make sure you click on this link. It's totally free. You put in your business, which I've done here, and you run a scan, and what it'll do, it'll go out there to all the business areas that it believes you should have your business in, and it will just check to make sure that it's known as the NAP, the name, address and phone number, that there's a consistency. So as you can see here, the +44 is how it views it in Google Maps. And yet I've actually put it as 079. So +44 is the English code or the UK code. Others, obviously, different countries will have different codes. So I don't think that makes any difference on the basis that it sees it that way anyway. But what I'm looking for, just purely on phone numbers, so there are other discrepancies here that I need to look at, like it uses England, it uses Dorset, there's a few changes here. Sometimes you put in the changes and they don't always get fixed straight away, so that's the reason for those. But I'm looking here, is this consistent? Is it the same number all the way through, which I can see it is, and that just tells me that, okay, I'm now ready to do the next trick. So I'm heading over to Google My Business. I'm now going to click on Posts, and you'll notice there that then you get a choice of various posts. Now, in a moment, I'm going to produce a video that's going to show you another fantastic little trick that's going to help you to keep your posts live for longer than 7 days. But at the moment, we're just going to use the standard post. So that's an update. So if I click on there, and this update now gives me an opportunity to upload a photo or video, to write a post, and then I'll show you how you can really make sure that people phone through. And at the moment, as we saw in the graph, phone calls, it's actually 61% increase since COVID. So the pandemic has changed people's ways of approaching business, and we need to adapt to that. So I'm just going to put in a post here and just smarten that up slightly. Okay, now the next thing we're going to do is just add a photo. So I've just picked a photo that, again, the importance when you upload a photo is try and make sure that it keeps with your branding. You may also need to just make sure that it fits nicely, so you could do that. I want to keep my branding, I want my logo to appear as well. So I'm going to go for the whole works there. And then you notice as well at the bottom, and this is what most people don't realise, but they can just click on Call Now. And this is having a real positive effect on most businesses. And what it means, I can't put in a link, which is what most people do. So normally you would put Learn More and you would put a link to your website or a landing page. But in this case, if you go for Call More, it picks out your phone number, and then Google will know that you've done that people have clicked on that. In fact, if I show you how that works, so I'm going to preview it, and it's just a Call Now button. But what that will do is it will now open up the ability for people, if they're on their phones, for example, that will just dial the number for them. And that's how that looks. So I'm going to come out of preview and I'm going to publish that. So that's now published. You get an opportunity to share this and to view it on searches, and this will just show you how that looks if people come across it on search. So there you go. So that just shows you it's now a Call Now button, and that was produced, and it's got the consistency with my branding as well. Now, just one final thing then to go back to. If you go into Insights, and you'll notice then if you click on a quarter, and you just notice that, I mean, in my case, picking up the phone isn't really ideal. Most people visit me via my website when they inquire. But you notice these blue ones here are when people pick up the phone, and that's purely from when I do a Call Now post. So again, it's one of those things where it registers it. It tells Google that people are calling you, they're phoning you, and they're interested in you. So if you just want some local inquiries, then you can use your Call Now button. But bearing in mind, there's a massive increase on using the phone at the moment. So you may want to just make your next post one that uses Call Now button. Now, in my next video, I'm going to show you a way of making sure that you always have your Google My Business post live and easy to be seen by customers. This is a really important video that I'm going to produce now, and I'm then going to put live for you to follow as well. So if it's not on the screen at the moment, then make sure you subscribe and then click back in a few days' time and it'll be there. And I'll meet you there for the second part of this tutorial.